Hi, this is Sarah Mikesell with the Poultry site, and today we're here with Ryan Bennett. He is the Executive Director of the International Poultry Welfare Alliance. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Great, and we're here at IPPE, back in person, which is so nice.
Amazing.
Yes, it's great to see everyone. We've noticed everybody's happy. Everybody's happy to be back, that's for sure. So, very good. Tell me a little bit about the International Poultry Welfare Alliance, Ryan.
Yeah, so International Poultry Welfare Alliance, or IPWA, is a multi-stakeholder group comprised of individuals involved in poultry production and poultry supply chains. So anything from growers to integrators and processors, retail food service companies, allied companies like pharmaceutical companies, equipment, nutrition, as well as civil society type members, so some NGOs, some associations from around the world involved in poultry and egg production, as well as academics. So we're a really well-rounded group, and we realize that decisions on poultry welfare include a multitude of stakeholders, and we've brought them all to the table to educate each other and hopefully build trust within the supply chain on the issue of poultry welfare, which we think ultimately will help us communicate better to our end customers.
Very good, and tell me a little bit about your objectives as an organization.
Yeah, so as an organization, we're all about improving that level of education and trust, between supply chain partners, like I mentioned, and we're doing that through an outcomes-based model of animal welfare. So we've been working on our first major project, I guess, would be our outcomes-based key welfare indicators, where we're really not focused necessarily on the practices or the production type to start. We're really looking at, if you really want to measure animal welfare, what are the things that you need to be measuring, and what are the outcomes from what you're doing that need to be measured, and where do those occur along the life cycle of the animal? So, is that something that occurs at the hatchery, or when that bird's being handled, or at the grow out phase of that bird's life? And really trying to narrow down the key things that you need to be measuring, how you can measure those, where those different measurement systems exist, and how you can implement that within your system. And what we really hope that allows people to do is talk about where they're doing really well, where maybe people are saying that they're not doing a good job in that area,
right,
but also narrow in on where they could do better over time. And we think that will lead us back to those practices and those sorts of things, but maybe not starting with that, starting with what's important, starting with and really letting the bird tell us how they're interacting with their environment and what's going well and what we need to change to make that better. So we really hope that drives just a better, more informed discussion on animal welfare and improves the welfare for the birds on a global basis.
Very good, and we've heard at this show specifically, I guess, we've heard a lot about data, right? Mm-hmm. And what you're talking about really requires that data component, right, for these guys to be able to measure.
Yeah, and the way that we've done it so far is for that to happen, voluntarily and internally within
right,
those companies. That can certainly be verified by third parties and those sort of things. But yeah, you have to have the data to be able to prove something. If somebody says the sky is blue and another person says that it is gray, the actual picture of the sky that day might actually be able to help you prove whether it's blue or gray. And so you need to have that actual hard data. Evidence-based, science-based decision making is really what we're all about at IPWA.
Very good. And when it comes right down to it, that bottom line, what does an organization like this do for the industry?
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, when you think about animal welfare, and I know we talk a little bit about sustainability as well, they're confusing topics for people. The number of different terms and issues that are out there, it's a big place. And so I think we really help to boil down those issues to their individual parts and help people work on welfare in a way that's comfortable for them, that meets them where they are, and allows them to kind of help themselves navigate. We don't tell people which way to go, what they should or shouldn't be doing, but we give them the tools available to make better decisions and be more comfortable with the decisions that they're making, whether it be on welfare or sustainability along the way. So I think it's somewhat overwhelming for people right now, and I think we can help people navigate these, kind of uncertain times with emerging science, with different pressures from different groups, and people all saying a lot of different things, and really getting to the experts and getting back to the basics of what do we actually know and what do we, what don't we know,
Right.
and helping people feel more comfortable talking about and working on improving, animal welfare. And so, we hope to be people's guidepost. We hope to be a resource for them, and we hope our members can be resources for one another as they kind of navigate these waters.
Very good. And when you think, you are an international organization, right? So animal welfare, or poultry welfare specifically, means different things in different parts of the world, right?
Yep. Yeah, it sure does. And we have we just recently did a webinar. We do a lot of webinars on different hot topics and things, whether it be lighting or any depopulation or we did one on just global perspectives on animal welfare and what's going on in North America compared to Europe, compared to Asia,
Right.
compared to South America is very different. But at the end of the day, there's still a lot of commonality.
Right.
And then there's still maybe different stages that people are at, and learning from what went well, what didn't go well as people evolved and as regions evolved, I think will help a lot of people going forward, and maybe, be able to capture some of the things that went well and maybe try and avoid some of the things that didn't go well, where other regions have maybe already gone through that issue or tackled that problem in the past.
Yeah, I would, you see variability in animal welfare across the species in different parts of the world, and certainly in different production systems, right? That's can be the starting point, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, can be very different for some of these operations and
Yeah.
moving the needle.
Yeah, and it's by no means static, right? So we see perceptions about welfare change as those countries modernize. And so those production systems are modernizing, those economies and those consumers are modernizing in a way. And so just because, we might have a read on where a region, and characterizing how those consumers feel about welfare today doesn't mean that won't change in the next 20 years. And so people really need to be thinking about, just because you're not getting asked these kind of questions or maybe receiving the types of pressure that you might get in North America or in Europe, doesn't mean that won't be there, and likely will be there in a short period of time. And so preparing for that now and growing in a way that allows you to better tell your story when that time comes makes a lot of sense from our point of view and a lot of our members' point of view. So we hope that we're providing the mechanism for people to be able to share those learnings and hopefully be able to grow in a way that is good for welfare and good for their business.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for all the information today, Ryan.
Yep, thank you.
This is Sarah Mikesell with the Poultry Site.